Arina East. Will this freehold hold its value, or it will crumble just like the rest of the boutique developments in District 15? Now we will find out. Welcome to the Essentials channel once again, where we'll do our project reviews, insights, so on and so forth. I have more people even reaching out to me recently, one even asking me about one of their CCR properties. I hope I bring you very valuable insights and sharp acumen in identifying the market opportunities, so on and so forth. So if you like what I've been sharing, please continue to like, share and subscribe so that I'll be staying motivated to continue this kind of valuable content. I think by now you would appreciate my sharp insights as well as the way I analyze. I'm totally different from the rest of the other agents out there. So I hope to bring you more unbiased viewpoints as we continue growing this channel. Alright, so now moving forward, here we are to actually do a review on Arina East today. So because of the consistent failure in achieving their approvals from the COH. By right, it was already supposed to launch last year, November. It dragged on to December. Finally, we were hearing that it's in the first quarter of 2025. It was supposed to be last week that we have the preview, but in the end, right now, we can't even have the preview because they still haven't get the COH approval. I think this is perfectly normal because that's why we have all these strict rules by URA and COH to ensure the sustainability of the buildings as well as the layouts to make sure that it is livable. So there must be certain things that they need to adhere to. Maybe they haven't met the mark yet, but I'm pretty sure they will get there. Just like how Chuan Park used to be. Does it mean that it's a bad product? Nope, I don't think so. I think it is just the checks that is in place by the relevant authorities that to make sure and ensure that our developments are going to stay sustainable, whether is it in terms of layout, pricing, build quality, so on and so forth. So just like every other project review, what we'll be doing will be, we'll start off with the rapid fire information, followed by the site plan and floor plan analysis, why I will not buy Arina East, why I will buy Arina East, price prediction, followed by the verdict. Now we move on to the rapid fire information. So now we have the fact sheet, Arina East Residences, developer ZACD, LV Development Private Limited. Louis Vuitton LV leh. Bleh. Anyway, continue. District 15, 6C and 6D Tanjong Rhu Road, sitting on a site area of 47,000 square feet approximately. So it's of course a smaller land size as compared to the usual ones that we have done our reviews where they are mostly more than 100,000 square feet. Total number of units, 107 units with 86 car park lots. Tenure, freehold. Alright, so we can see from here the vacant possession date is 31st December 2028 with an expected legal completion of 31st December 2031. So now we move on to the unit distribution where we have 1 bedroom unit at 495 square feet at 17 units, 2 bedroom deluxe and 2 bedrooms premium, 678 square feet, 797 square feet and 861 square feet respectively at 17 units, 18 units and 8 units respectively, 3 bedrooms deluxe, 3 bedrooms premium, 3 bedroom premium private lift. We have 9 units, 17 units, and 5 units respectively. And moving forward with the 4 bedroom premium at 1324 square feet, we only got 1 unit. 4 bedroom premium with private lift, we have 12 units at 1389 square feet. 4 bedroom premium private lift, 1 unit, 1615 square feet. 4 bedroom plus study, 1679 square feet at 1 unit. Total, it comprises of 107 units. So now we move on to the site plan analysis. So of course you can see because of the smaller land size, we can see from this site plan itself, it basically meets the basic requisites of every project. You have your driveway in, the 2 blocks situated in the center, followed by a swimming pool in the center, a jacuzzi, an aqua gym in the center as well, and a kids pool on the right side of the whole site plan. It's as straightforward as it seems. Because of the small land size itself, this is whatever the developer could squeeze in. Of course, the livability factors comes in check because whenever you have small land size, it is always a question mark how livable is the space whenever it comes to families, which we'll actually touch on that later. Alright, so because of the lack of info, then we need to check out based on the facilities from our fact sheet itself. On the first story, you will naturally have your guardhouse and your reflection pool. On the second story, that's where all the facilities are situated at: your swimming pool, your pool deck, your aqua gym, your jacuzzi, your clubhouse, your kids play area, as well as your kids pool. On the 19th story, because definitely you'll still be able to catch a glimpse of the Tanjong Rhu area, the stadium area. So they have this communal sky terrace and communal garden. On the left side, you will probably be able to catch the sea view as well. On the 20th story, it comes with a sky pool, a pool deck lounger, a sky gym, as well as sky BBQ pavilion. So to me, this is classified as 第二线, all right, 第二线 of the second line, or the second boundary line of the East Coast property. Why do I say that? Actually, in Chinese, we call it 一线, 二线, 三线. Alright, so if you realize what happened is this, those 一线one are the ones closest to the sea, where you get Mayor Road properties, which fronts the sea view. And then, of course, you get the second line. Alright, the second line will be, of course, places like Mayor Residences, so on and so forth. In fact, the Tanjong Rhu, this whole line, the line at Tanjong Rhu, followed by Arina East itself, I classify as the second line. Meaning to say, you still catch a glimpse of the sea if you have the right units in the right direction as well. So same thing, because of that, that's why they have this communal sky terrace and communal garden, which gives you the flexibility as well as the privilege to be able to have that kind of sea view just from your project itself. Alright, so just a little quick note, within 1 kilometer, there's Government High School as well as Eton International Preschool. And then from there, within 1 to 2 kilometers, you have Canadian International School, Chatsworth, Konghua, Geylang Methodist, Tanjong Katong Primary, Chongqing High, as well as Tanjong Katong Girls School and Tanjong Katong Secondary School. Right, the beautiful part of this project is, of course, its proximity to the MRT station of Katong Park MRT station. Just a 3 minutes walk away, you will be able to reach the MRT gantry right at front of your doorstep. So now, after analyzing the site plan, we will move over to the floor plan. So from the floor plan itself, you will be able to see which units actually face where. So just to give you a bit more orientation, stack 6, stack 4 and stack 3 will likely be facing the sea orientation, that side of things, because you will hit the Tanjong Rhu Road, you will get to see a bit of water side, and then behind water side is the ECP, followed by the sea itself. Alright, and then of course you have stack 5, stack 1 and stack 2, which faces behind. You will be able to see that Tanjong Rhu area of development. So if you still get a glimpse of the landed view, so probably you'll get a mix of landed views with a bit of buildings in front of you. The buildings will probably form part of your views. I wish I had more information and artist impression to show you, but in due time we will update you, and feel free to contact me anytime to send you more information. So right now, this is the layout on its own. So we can see from here, stack 1, stack 2 are the 2 bedrooms layout. Stack 4 is the 1 bedroom layout. Stack 3, it is a 2 bedroom layout all the way until the 9th floor. Because of a service void in the center, the position where it is a service void becomes a bedroom as it crosses the 10th floor mark. So same stack, 1003 and above, all the way until 1703, they are actually 3 bedrooms. But anything below that is 2 bedroom. The 3rd bedroom's positioning is where the service void area is. So to start off, we will have the 1 bedroom, stack 4. Alright, so we can see from here, because this is a non-harmonized development, right, means the AC latch will be included within the layout itself. Just like every other standard 1 bedroom, you will have your galley kitchen coming in. You get your dining area, your living, as well as your master bedroom, and then your master bath. Alright, and of course, for this unit itself, it's very special. It actually has a bomb shelter, which can double up as your storage needs. Alright, my only one disadvantage or flaw about this 1 bedroom layout is there is no designated space for the dining area. It's been a while since we last saw this kind of 1 bedroom layouts not having a designated space for the dining area. It's quite concerning because it may actually affect your exit strategy in the future. And one more thing that draws my attention to, so far all the floor plans that I look at based on Arina is, if you look at the master bedroom itself, there is this extra like panel or bar that sticks out at the window. I have a feeling, I mean, I haven't seen the show flat yet, but I have a feeling this is what is that metal frame that will extend out within the bedroom that will eat into your space because of the glass curtain. Alright, when I say about glass curtain, because if you look at the facade of Arina East, it's actually like a glass curtain. So in order to facilitate that construction process, we will need to have that metal framing that is put inside the unit itself, which will actually affect your bedroom size. Alright, and this eats into it. Although on paper it states a certain bedroom size, but because of this jutting in, it is space that has been eaten away by this framing. And this is only happening because of non-harmonized developments. You will see that all harmonized developments cannot have such a construction method. Alright, so if we move on, we look at the next layout, which is a 2-bedroom, 678 square feet, which is step 1. I think this itself will be quite a practical 2-bedroom, 678 square feet unit that you can go for, because it mimics what a harmonized development floor plan will look like. Coming in from the main entrance, you will have an enclosable kitchen on the left. Moving forward, you have a designated dining area as well as a wide living space. This unit itself has a bomb shelter as well that can facilitate storage needs, followed by the 2 bedrooms on the left side with the corridor running in parallel against it. Alright, so this one is your traditional 2-bedroom layout, and just like what I mentioned about the glass curtain framing that is present within the floor plan itself, this again will eat into your floor plan space of the bedroom size. So then again, we need to go and see the actual show flat to actually assess for ourselves whether is it still livable or not. As long as it is livable, you will still be able to have an exit strategy. So now we move on to the 2-bedroom layout, 797 square feet, step 2. This itself, coming in from your main entrance, you will have the kitchen on the right. This to me is like a semi-enclosable one. You still can build glass door to enclose it. To me, it's quite good. The good thing about this it comes with a window down there. So it is very usable, especially if you are a small family trying to cook at home. Designated dining, designated living area. I think this is one of the better layouts for the 2-bed, 2-bath. You got your balcony that's not too big, followed by the traditional 2-bedroom layout with the 2 bedrooms on the right side with the toilets running in parallel to it. Good thing about this unit, it comes with the bomb shelter. It's actually quite feasible and usable as a family. But one thing that draws my concern is, of course, again, the bars, the extension of those glass curtain that eats into your bedroom space. And if you zoom in here at the 2-bedroom layout, you'll realize that the AC latch is actually quite big. That's why now I think we are starting to appreciate the harmonized policies that is in place by the government. Alright, so now moving forward, we have the 2-bedroom, 861 square feet. This is the very special one that runs along stack 3. What is supposed to be a 3 bedrooms is a 2-bedroom layout from 0303 all the way to 0903. Anything above 0903, which is 1003 onwards, is 3 bedrooms. Coming in from the main entrance, you will have this enclosable kitchen, followed by the bomb shelter on the right, a designated dining area with a living area with the 2 bedrooms on the right side. Alright, so this is the traditional 2-bed, 2-bath layout that mimics what we just saw above, just that the kitchen placement is slightly different. And then of course, for me, will be the same concerns as what I've mentioned above. Now we move forward, we will see the 3-bedroom, 1003 all the way until 1703. What was supposed to be a service void area is now the 3rd bedroom layout. Again, you will see the extra metal piece jutting out in front of your window area, which eats into your bedroom space. Next, we have the 3-bedroom, 1087 square feet. Coming in here, you will get a hybrid of a portrait layout versus a landscape layout. You will see you have a space of the living room, all right, with the sofa at the left side. And then of course, the right side, we will put the TV using the 3rd bedroom's wall. To me, this is not the ideal kind of layout because basically you can't really use the space effectively in the living room. And because you put the TV on the bedroom 3 walls, all right, that itself, the walls, the perimeters of the bedroom 3 will form your living room wall where you put your TV on. And that's the problem there. Means that wall, your TV size is always limited by the size of that wall. And you can see the placement of the dining area is in a very awkward position, followed by the dry kitchen, wet kitchen, and then you get your bomb shelter. Basically, to me, this is not an effective 3-bedroom layout. It's not that livable in, and if you go in to see the layout that time, it's probably quite fragmented, and that is not an ideal, efficient usage of space. Of course, the rest will be quite standard. You have all the 3 bedrooms on the right side with the toilets running in parallel or perpendicular to it. Move forward. We have 1195 1905. This is how the unit layout will look like. There's only one unit that is like this. Same thing for this 3 bedrooms type C4, 1238 square feet. You only got one unit type like this. Followed by 1324 square feet, 1903. You will only have one layout like this. This is a 4-bedroom. Next, we come into the 4-bedroom floor plan where it is a 1389 square feet 4-bedroom, 0706 and until 1706. This one comes with a private lift lobby where you enter the landscape layout. This is the kind that will enjoy the kind of panoramic views. This is actually stack 6, which actually may be able to get the unblocked sea view, maybe waterside as part of the view as well. But at least the landscape layout will get to enjoy the kind of sea view that you probably get to enjoy. So go for the high floors if you are planning to get this, because your resaleability is going to be quite strong. Private live area, this acts like a multi-generation home with a junior suite on the left side with the 3 bedrooms on the right side. Follows a traditional layout. Comes with a dry kitchen, wet kitchen, as well as the bomb shelter behind. Good thing, comes with the utility toilet, so it can facilitate families' own stay needs as well as domestic helper needs. Next, this is one of the 4 bedroom layouts that only has 1 unit, which is 2003 at 1679 square feet. This is the layout, and there we have it. So all in all, if you ask me based on the floor plan analysis, I think because of the lack of the harmonization policies, the 1 bedrooms to me a little bit dangerous to be entering. Alright, because of the layout where you don't have a designated dining area. But more importantly, because of that glass curtain frame that eats into your bedroom size, I'm a little bit concerned of the sizes of the bedrooms for all layouts throughout. Right, to me, I think the 4 bedroom is a safe bet because you get to get the sea view and get the landscape layout, which harmonization policies has restricted the construction of landscape layout 4 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms wise is a bit fragmented, so to me, I have a bit of concern on that itself. The 2 bedrooms, if you're getting a 678 square feet one for investment or for your own stay needs, I think is still fine. So there's a few red flags down here whenever it comes to layouts, which I would tend to avoid, which is what I just mentioned to you just now. Alright, so to further add on regarding the 3 bedroom 1087 square feet stack 5. Alright, so that itself, I also have a bit of concerns apart from the living room wall being too small to fit a bigger TV. If you look at the shape of the balcony itself, there is an added extra corner on the left side which is obviously not usable. Alright, it's already past the perimeters and the dimensions of the living room, so I'm not sure what the developer is thinking down there with that extra space in that balcony, which eats into the total usable space of your 1087 square feet. Alright, maybe we can use it to carve out an extra space for storage. I'm not sure down here. Alright, but all in all, because of the fragmentation of these 3 bedrooms, I don't think that this is quite an ideal layout to begin with. So I think the few units that you can really look at are the 2 bedrooms. Alright, the 2 bedrooms, 861 square feet is not bad. Alright, we can take a look at the 797 square feet as well as the 678 square feet. I think all of these are okay to consider, but mind you, the 678 square feet 2 bedrooms itself comes with only 1 bathroom, when actually harmonized developments today can give you 2 bathrooms. Alright, and then of course, I think the 3 bedroom 969 square feet is a good consideration as well, given how the layout is like. The kitchen may be a bit small, but otherwise everything is what we are pretty much used to consider as a effective layout. The rest of the other layouts, I think you probably need to think twice before going for it, because when livability factors are questionable, then your exit strategy is also questionable. So now let's move on to why I would not buy Arina East. Number 1 is the layouts. To me, the layouts, based on my layout analysis just now, it actually has some concerns over the livability factors, and that will actually affect my exit strategy, which in turn affects my evergreen scorecard. You will realize that out of the 6 layouts that we have, or the 6 stacks that we have, actually only 2 to 3 I consider it favorable. The rest, there are some concerns in terms of their layout, in terms of their fragmentation of layout, in terms of their efficiency, so on and so forth. So to me itself, there may be some concerns down here, and because this will affect the overall price trend of the development, thus it will affect my exit strategy, because when the livability comes into question, means the future resale buyers who is buying it for their own usage and own needs may not be met. And that in turn, if the sellers want to offload quickly, they may need to cut their price to cater to these buyers or attract these buyers, which will in turn pull down the prices of other ideal unit layouts such as the 2 bedrooms or 3, because it concerns the entire project's track record pricing. Number 2 will be the limited number of units of 107 units. To me, this is a bit of a red flag whenever I identify projects to buy, because every time, like what I mentioned before in my previous video, I will always look out for projects that at least have 250 units and above. Because why? It's just basic demand and supply and volume of transactions. Alright, just like stocks itself, people always see the volume of transactions. All right, the key thing to take note is this. If you are a future resale buyer today, and because of the limited number of units within the development, the number of transactions happening per month won't be high. If you are the resale buyer, would you then be confident to put a higher pricing just to buy over from you? That is a question, because they can't see the natural track record and progression. They don't have the confidence to put a higher price. So just like every other analysis, they always mention volume of transaction is important as it provides certainty, it provides consistency, but most importantly, it provides a healthy track record for buyers to become more confident to put in a higher price. And if every month you keep seeing transactions happening, if you are the buyer, you see it inching upwards, you would be then more confident to be able to put down a higher price for it, which in turn affects the exit strategy as well. And of course, the number of units and the distribution is affected by the GFA. So if we look at the site plan itself, it is really quite a small site plan in that sense. And it also brings me one more question, which is the livability factor. All right, if families want to move into Arina East itself, the first key thing to take note is, do I have enough space for my kids to run around? Do I have enough space for communal living? And all these things are actually the things that affect livability. So that's why, to me, buying this development at Arina East may be a question mark in terms of livability, which affects my exit strategy once again. So now we move on to why I will buy Arina East. Number one will be, of course, the freehold status. All right, and it has been proven that with time, freehold will really withstand the obstacles and the tides of the market. And we can see from here, as long as it is livable, freehold developments in this area would naturally appreciate. But the key question to ask is this: what is their pricing that they will be launching at? So of course, I can draw a few more lessons from the surrounding developments such as Fulcrum as well as One Mayor. One Mayor was exactly the newest development in the area that is opposite the Katong Park MRT. And if you look at the transactions itself, some of their transactions were actually sold at 2.4 PSF. Of course, the higher floors were 2.6 PSF, and even you have 2.8, 2.9 PSF. And if we look at the profitability itself over the last few years, we have 3 transactions that are profitable, right? Mainly 3 bedrooms that were purchased at 2.7 PSF and sold at 2.933 PSF, making a profit of 210K. 2.492 PSF entry price, and then selling at 2.729 PSF for the 3-bedroom 1,033 square feet at 245K. So because why? Because back then, One Mayor itself, the entry price itself being a boutique development, is actually slightly lower than the rest of the mega scale developments. Drawing from past experience, you could see that they got 2.4 to 2.6 PSF, which is considered quite cheap, and there was actually a gap from the surrounding larger developments like Mayor Mansions, which was selling at 2.8 to 2.9 PSF. So you had that 2,300 PSF of buffer, which translates to their profitable transactions today. Did it make a lot? I don't think so, because of the livability factors being a concern. They have only a small site plan, and most importantly, if you deep dive into their floor plan itself, their 3 bedrooms have a 926 square feet and 1033. If you look at their 926 square feet, they actually come in an odd shape layout. But despite being an odd-shaped layout, it is still livable, and that's why they still can have an exit strategy. But of course, the profit size is a bit limited because of the odd-shaped layout. All right. So of course, you have here the 1033 square feet, which the layout is slightly better, but you still get an odd-shaped balcony, a small living and dining area. You get a weird shape, but otherwise, everything else from the bedrooms itself are quite squarish, and that's why it is still livable. There is still an exit strategy despite it being a small development. So people always say that small developments don't make money, but actually, if the layout is good enough, but most importantly, if the entry price has a wide enough gap compared to bigger, more scalable developments, then the smaller developments may actually deserve a consideration. So back to Arina East, it's not say that it will not make money, but then we will need to actually check out and scrutinize the layout a bit better to make sure the livability factors are kept in check. That's why to me, the 969 square feet may stand a greater chance, or the 4 bedrooms itself with the landscape layout may actually stand a greater chance, because the livability factors are kept in check and it ticks most of the boxes for family to stay in, which meets the needs of Singaporeans. As long as it meets the needs, then you will always have an exit strategy. So like what I mentioned just now, I mentioned that some layouts we need to avoid, but some layouts can really buy. So another example that we can really use is Fulcrum. Right, Fulcrum itself falls into the same category as well, where it is a smaller development, but yet it is a freehold. It is a land size of 47,000 square feet, which is pretty similar to what Arina East is. All right, they have loft units as well, but if you look at their profitability chart over the last 10 years, they actually have about 16 profitable transactions, with the 2-bedroom larger units making at least an average of 300k. All right, so theirs, they comprise mostly of 1 and 2 bedrooms, and that's why in a way their profit transactions are a bit limited. All right, so we only have 5 3-bedroom units in Fulcrum, and the rest are all penthouses. The rest are all mostly 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom. So despite it having very little own stay units, and they don't really have that many own stay demand coming in or natural demand coming in, they are still profitable in that sense, which actually defied quite a fair bit of the market obstacles or micro attributes. So with that in mind, we see Arina East having more own stay units with more 3 bedrooms in mind. Possibly this whole project itself, based on previous track record of Fulcrum, may actually fare better. So basically, comparing to Fulcrum, Arina East has better unit distribution as well as floor plan. So if Fulcrum itself can also profit like that with a 300k average for 2 bedrooms, then I think Arina East as a whole will fare better because of the better unit distribution and meeting the needs that will bring in the natural demand that will keep the track record of Arina East performance slightly better. So secondly, of course, is the transformation. So based on my previous video, I always like to use this to gauge whether my projects can buy or cannot buy. So you can see from here, the 3-phase transformation framework: announcement, completion, and infrastructure. So right now, based on the East Coast as well as the Katong Park MRT, the Katong Park MRT was actually completed in 2023. So right now, with the completion of this station, am I right to say we are entering the infrastructure phase? So fortunately, Arina East itself is part of the infrastructure phase. We still got the Katong Park down there that I'm not sure what they're gonna plan to do. Currently, it's still a park, but you can be very, very sure that right now, government is focusing on the infrastructure phase. And that's why you got the next transformation coming up, which is the Kallang Alive. Just behind Tanjong Rhu itself will be the Kallang Alive transformation, which covers your short-term to mid-term growth, all right? Followed by the long-term growth, which is what? The Long Island. All right, so with that in mind, your short-term, mid-term, and long-term options are all covered as long as you buy Arina East. So now let's move on to the price prediction. All right, so I'm going to draw a few comparisons to the 2021 en bloc, because the view itself, which is the project before it was Arina East, before the en bloc happened, was actually en bloc in 2021. So there was also another similar project within the same period of time. I mean, there were many different projects that en bloc within 2021. So, but with a similar plot size, so on and so forth, with similar attributes, we will have, of course, the now Century Newton, which is the previous Surrey Point. So if we look at that, based on the Surrey Points en bloc pricing, it was 1,334 per square foot per plot ratio, which eventually launched at an average of 2,700 PSF, with the lowest PSF starting at 2,571 PSF and the highest PSF clock at 2,870 PSF. So if we just use this as a reference point to actually go and do our prorated calculations, we will take 2,700 per square foot divided by 1,334 per square foot per plot ratio, multiply by 1,540 per square foot per plot ratio, which is what Le View was en bloc at, and you will get an average of 3,116 PSF. That will probably be what the developer is trying to achieve based on the average PSF when it is divided throughout the whole Arina East. So if we take the lowest point of it, which is 2,571 PSF of Century Newton, and apply the same prorated calculations, you will get the starting price of Arina East probably being at about 2,968 per square foot. And if we take the higher spectrum of things, which is 2,870 PSF, which was clocked at Century at Newton, then the higher spectrum of things for Arina East will be about 3,313 PSF. Now, based on what I'm hearing on the ground, this is exactly the numbers that this developer is planning to launch at, about 3,000 per square foot. All right, maybe you'll get to see something at 2,900 or even 2,800 per square foot, but I think they are basing on the freehold status, and that's why they are trying to call this. But based on calculations itself, you will actually see that yeah, they need to sell at this price before they can hit the break even, as well as profit about 10% from it, I guess. So with that in mind, actually entry price is everything. To me, if it is going to be launching at about 2,950 to about 3,300 PSF, then it brings me another question. We have Mayor Blue, which is just down the road, which is a much larger scale condo, which the starting price was at 2984 PSF with an average PSF of 3231 PSF, and the highest PSF clock is 3569 PSF. Remember what I said earlier just now in the video, entry price for boutique developments plays a much bigger role. Right, the key question to ask is the price gap between Arina East as well as Maya Blue wide enough so that Arina East becomes a viable option for your entry? That is the next question that we should be asking ourselves about. So now let's move on to the final verdict. So if we look at this, the final verdict, well, I guess within the East Coast region, there is definitely a shortage of supply in the market right now, with the likes of Tembusu Grand, Admiral F Katong, Grand Diamond, as well as Continuum, Maya Blue, all of these running low in supply. If you're looking for the 1 or 2 bedrooms, I think this provides a viable option for you. But if you're looking at the 3 and 4 bedrooms, depending on the price and the PSF that they're going to be launching at, most importantly, this is not even harmonized to begin with, then maybe you might have actually better alternatives to consider, maybe at Continuum or Grand Diamond. By the time all these are sold, probably Arina East will come out as the winner because that is the only unit and alternative that is present in the market. But based on the current market, I think you do have better alternatives if you are looking for 3 and 4 bedrooms. But if you are left with the 1 and 2 bedrooms, then yes, because of the lack of supply and choices, because of the limited number of units in the entire market based on new launches right now, then Arina East itself does present itself with an alternative choice, especially if you are looking for something freehold. And if you look at the unit layout itself, I think the 2 bedrooms are actually something to go for to kickstart your capital building process. Or even if you really love the East so much and you want your investment to be in the East, then the 2 bedroom layout as an investment is actually very, very, very good, because I am very concerned with the livability factors of the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms layout, and of course as well as the 1 bedroom layout. Generally, it will affect the track record, but most importantly, if the entry price was going to be at 29 to 3000 PSF, the gap between Arina East as well as Maya Blue is not wide enough. One is a small development, the other one is a big development, right, with substantial units as well as substantial facilities. The price gap is not wide enough to justify the clear exit strategy. Just like how the predecessors are, like let's say One Mayor versus Mayor Mansion. One Mayor could do 24 to 26 PSF, while Mayor Mansion was doing 28 to 3000 PSF or 27 to 3000 PSF. They still presented a 3 to 400 PSF gap, just being across the road, but one being a smaller development, the other one being a bigger development. I am not seeing this kind of price gap between Arina East and Maya Blue, alright, which is the same batch of projects at this current moment. So with that in mind, that is the main reason why I would say you may need to hold a bit longer with all the attributes that I've mentioned if you were to purchase Arina East. So if you like the content that I've been sharing so far, definitely I will release more analysis if I manage to get more info on Arina East, but this is what I feel based on what we are getting at Arina East. So if you like my content so far, please remember to like, share and subscribe, as you will keep me motivated in creating more of these videos to share more valuable insights with you. And till then, see you in the next one.